Cheater! Cheater! Look at the cheater. Turn around for your fans. He had a 2-year affair while I had his second baby. We intentionally had a second baby and he was having an affair the whole time.
My God, I feel so sorry for that baby. I mean, if the guy's a cheater, he's a scumbag. That's obvious, but my question is, why aren't more women interested in taking the moral high ground? The message that we used to tell women in situations like this is to be the bigger person. Don't sink to his level, rise above it. And we told women that because we wanted to protect them. We didn't want women to lose their dignity and just get consumed with bitterness and hatred. We wanted to prevent women, quite frankly, from turning into this. It has been decades since we have held women to any kind of standards of behavior. And in that time, we've seen how vicious and ugly women can be in their actions when they feel like they have been wronged. If she feels victimized, which women are encouraged to feel in this culture 24/7, then lost are any notions of fairness, equality, justice, replaced instead by the ugly demon of revenge. And nowhere is this more evident than in the way that modern women act during a divorce.
Dave, how come you represent dads and not moms?
Because dads walk into my office and they're like, I want out, here's $5,000, call me when you need me. When mom walks in, it's, I want his heart, his soul, every bit of his skin. I want all the money, I want the kids, I want to get him fired from the job, I want him in jail, I want him turned into the IRS. He's an a-hole loser who never loved me, and oh, I don't have any money, you got to go to him to get it anyways.
For many men, going through the divorce process is how they lose their innocence. That's when they wake up to the cold, ugly reality. Before it was, she's a woman, she's kind, she's nurturing. We loved each other for years. This doesn't need to be a war. We're not going to be enemies. Wait a minute, she's asking for 80% of our assets? Why is she spreading false accusations about me to all of our friends? Why won't she let me see our kids? This can't be real. This can't be happening. This is surely a nightmare that I'm going to wake up from. This study is over 20 years old, but the results were very clear. They found in divorce proceedings that men tend to use more legalistic arguments that are based on principles of law and customary practice. Women tend to use more relational arguments based on interpersonal responsibility to a relationship. Men's style tends to be unemotional and reserved. Women's style emotional with more expression of insult and pain. As soon as the marriage breaks down, women need to choose their narrative, their story that they're going to tell the world. Understand the feminine mindset here, okay? No woman wants to adopt the story of, I am a failure. I failed my man. I failed my marriage. I couldn't make my husband happy. I couldn't succeed in my role as his wife. Even if it's true, no woman wants that label because it makes her look bad in the eyes of others, and women are very image conscious. They're very protective of their reputation with other people. And so she chooses a different story, one where she is a victim. I was innocent during the whole divorce. I did everything perfectly. I was just suffering under the hands of a brutal, abusive tyrant of a man. And from that lens, of course she's entitled to grab all the money that she can, to manipulate the legal system, to keep his children from him. Anything she does is just righteous empowerment because she's the good one. She is the wronged party. A lot of women genuinely feel like they are victims of their marriage, like they were taken advantage of. She mentally calculates all the hours that she spent cooking and cleaning and contributing to the relationship, and she concludes that she is owed a debt. And then sadly, the divorce proceeding has become a symbolic battleground for resolving past grievances because she genuinely believes that this is her last chance to get him back. But her belief in this narrative can only be maintained by a very selective review of the evidence. She looks at all of her feminine contributions and thinks, I gave so much, but she completely ignores all of the male contributions. That counts for nothing. The money, the protection, the labor, the values he had, the leadership he showed, the blame that he was forced to absorb, they aren't part of her calculations because she has grown up in a culture that shamelessly pushes the idea that masculinity contributes nothing of value.
Alexa, remind me that I don't need a man and men are useless.
When should I remind you?
Every damn day.
If you think that you're going to be safe during a divorce proceedings because of the innate sympathy that your wife is going to show you, and that's going to limit how awful she's going to behave, you still don't understand women. At a biological level, women are not wired to feel sympathy for men. Women are kind, nurturing, and caring to children, but men are meant to be strong. Women do not see it as their role to show compassion to men. Now, of course, in your marriage, while you're married to her, she was kind to you, at least some of the time, but understand that kindness was selfishly motivated. She supports you because you're supporting her. You are included in her circle of compassion because you are on her team. But if you leave that team, don't be surprised if her sympathy just vanishes, gone. It just disappears, and when the smoke clears, don't be surprised if you do not recognize the woman in front of you. She's looking at you with eyes you do not recognize, like she wants to kill you. She seems motivated and passionate about causing you as much suffering and harm as possible. It's terrifying, and there are many sweet, naive men who've had their worldviews just completely fall apart. It breaks them. They don't know how to make sense of what's happening. The woman who he loved and who used to love him now suddenly sees him as an enemy to be vanquished. Why? What motivates women's desire for revenge? Well, think about all of the things that she's lost. First off, social status. There is a certain pride that women feel about having an intact marriage. Having a husband, being somebody's wife, that's a status symbol. It's a big deal for women. We literally have different words to describe a woman based on her relationship with a man. Men are Mr. all the time, but if a woman is single, she's Miss. If she's married, she gets to become Mrs. If she's been Mrs. so-and-so for decades, she's not going to be thrilled about having to go back to Miss. You have robbed her of that status. She's going to be pissed. And she's also going to be angry because she knows that in the 25 years that you were married, as a man, your status, your wealth has accumulated. It's grown. While at the same time, her sexual market value has plummeted.
Why do you think women want revenge so much in a divorce?
Oh, that's totally easy. A 40-year-old woman who's got, let's say, 2 kids has almost no money value on the open market of relationships, and she's got a very slim pool of people to pull from for future dating and or marriage. A man who's 40, completely attractive, can date anybody from 20 to 70, and the giant pool is there for him to have as much fun as he wants, and she knows that she's going to be competing with that 20-year-old and other 40-year-olds and other 50-year-olds and 70-year-olds for all the 40-year-old men that she wants to date.
So a completely selfish reason.
100%. 100%.
Women run the dating market in their 20s. There's no doubt about that. But what offsets that privilege for women is the reality that when it comes to selecting her life partner, that high quality guy to make a life with, to get married, to have children, she only gets one shot. That's it. Now, I'm not saying that divorced women can never find love again, that they can't ever be happy. Of course they can, but it's way harder because men like women who are younger, who haven't had children yet. So a woman who has already tried and failed, that's way less attractive. And so those top quality men, they're going to choose somebody different. She had one shot and she blew it. Her marriage failed and her desirability plummets.
It is literally so embarrassing being a baby mother. Like, cause why did I do that to myself? I got to choose who I was having a child with in this world, and I chose embarrassment. Oh my God.
It's not just in dating. In the job market, she's in real trouble too. While her husband kept working in his career, getting promotions, leveling up, getting raises, she stopped working to have kids, and so her financial future at this point is looking pretty bleak. She's used to having his financial support, and then suddenly that's going away. She's pissed about that. Of course she wants revenge. She wants to grab as much money as she possibly can because her financial situation is not looking great. A lot of women don't want to work again. They got used to that stay-at-home wife lifestyle. So they view the financial settlement from the divorce as their last opportunity for one great big payday. They feel entitled to it. They are so angry at their ex-husbands that they want to make him suffer. And she knows that the best revenge that she can take on him is to separate him from his children. And this goes beyond just pushing for unequal child custody arrangements. Many women in divorces sink to levels of moral depravity that a lot of guys don't even think women are capable of until they see it for themselves. Things like actively turning their child against their father, complaining about him to the child, insulting him, emotionally blackmailing the child into hating their father, and beyond that, false accusations of violence and inappropriate behavior in order to influence custody decisions decisions by the court. I know that there are lots of scumbag men out there who mistreat their children, not denying that. But at the same time, our culture needs to come to terms with the fact that there are lots of women out there who will make a bunch of shit up just to hurt their husbands, and it is disgraceful that this toxic behavior is enabled by our justice system. Across the West, millions of men have been in family courts faced with an impossible task of proving their innocence, because judges have decided that the words of a biased and vindictive woman are all the evidence that they need. Every single case of child custody should be mandatory 50-50, unless there are exceptional circumstances which are proven with evidence. Defenders of the status quo argued that it's more important for children to be with their mothers, that women's push for full custody isn't about revenge, it's about what's best for the children. Even though, as I've covered on this channel many times before, the evidence points overwhelmingly to the fact that in order for children to succeed in the world, fathers are essential.
I don't really say this eloquently. If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father. So if we want to keep children, adults, out of prison, mother, father, or just father. Well, we don't want to hear just father, so let's try to keep the families intact.
The devaluing of men's role, the minimizing of the importance of fathers, this lack of sympathy for men across the board has got to end. The courts have got to do better. The whole culture needs to improve. Otherwise, marriage as an institution is going to break down because men will just opt out. And that is not good for the stability of families. That's not good for children. So men, if you are planning on proposing to a woman, you want to get married, hope for the best, but please, plan for the worst. Of course, get a prenuptial agreement. I know that they don't always hold up, but get every protection you can. Look into putting your assets into a trust. Make sure your children will be provided for. But most importantly, choose wisely. Pick a good woman. Educate yourself on female psychology. Do not ignore red flags in the dating process. If you're not sure if you're compatible with her, don't get married. Keep dating while you gather more data so that you can make a more informed decision. You want a happy life? You want to be married for 60 years? Everything normal, everything healthy? You want a life that doesn't feature divorce, child custody, bankruptcy, false accusations? You want to avoid your life becoming a cautionary tale? Well, so much of that just comes down to picking the right woman at the start. Marriage is a voluntary contract. Nobody is forcing you, so take your time. Do not just commit to anybody. Take this seriously. Do your due diligence. Now, if it's too late and you are in the middle of divorce and you just want things to be clean and easy, but your ex-wife is determined to get revenge, what can you do to calm things down? How do you fix that situation? Well, of course, there is no magic answer, but over my many years in this space, I have identified 3 tips and strategies that can help things immensely. They're quite simple and easy to implement. For the rest of the video, that's what I'm going to talk about. So if you'd like a little bit of practical guidance, you're going to want to watch the rest of this video. It's available on Patreon. What I post here on YouTube, these are just the shortened, abridged versions of my videos. If you'd like access to my full videos, then please come and join me on Patreon.